Now we're going to be taking questions. All right, I'm going to start there at the back, and then I'm going to come forward. 2 questions per person. So,
You can take 5 hands.
5, ne? 5 per person, okay.
No, 5 questions per person. 5 hands.
5 hands, okay. All right, let me just give numbers. You will be number 1 there at the back, number 2 with the green, number 3 the lady, number 4, and then number 5. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm Jaurelo Magolero from EFF. Floyd, you know, it would seem that you've already decided to form the party when you are saying you are announcing an interim core. What about your credibility? I mean, you've embarked on this. I remember the famous "what is to be done" question when you said you were consulting South Africans for the formation of the EFF, which today you are trashing. And when you joined MK, you said that was the most solid decision. And when MK announced your demotion at the time and said this man embarked on a trip to Bushiri, you accepted that that was a reason, that you had gone there without the knowledge of the party and so on. Why must South Africans still believe you in light of what happened and not think that you are starting this thing because you do not want to serve as an ordinary member in a party? Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sintebu. I'm with the SAPC. Mr. Shivambu, you're saying that you'll be embarking on a process to form a new political party if the people of South Africa give you that go ahead. Does that mean today you've parted ways with MK Party despite the fact that you're wearing the MKP cap? And secondly, what are you saying to those people who are saying mushrooming of black political parties, in fact, are just meant to divide the black vote? Aren't you seeing yourself as maybe part of those who are duped into forming political parties only to benefit the very same people that you are saying are the white monopoly capital, because those people seem to be getting funding from the very people that you accused as the white monopoly capital? I've got a number of questions, but I think I will stick for two.
Okay, sure.
Thank you very much. My name is Yanda Ngobo from Newsroom Africa. Mr. Shivambu, just to follow up on Deb, what's your current status in the MK Party? Have you officially resigned? If so, when did that happen? And you say you're going to be traversing parts of the country and different regions. Where are you getting the money for this? How exactly are you going to be going about it? And then I just want to go back a little bit here. With regards to your Bushiri trip, I mean, you and I sat down 3 weeks ago where you basically said, that the leader of the MK Party knew about this trip. Did you ever get a chance to sit down with him one-on-one to discuss this? You've already told us about intelligence reports. What did he say to you with regards to these intelligence reports? Because he seemed very upset during those Youth Day rallies. So maybe take us into your confidence, because it links to the credibility question that's been asked, because you had told me that you would never resign from the MK Party. So please take us into your confidence in terms of that decision-making process. Yeah, I'll leave it there for now.
Here from African Times. I actually wanted to ask the same question, that have you officially resigned? Oh, okay. Okay, Namazulu Moyo here from African Times. I actually wanted to ask the same question, that have you officially resigned from the MK Party? And also, you're talking about organizing people that are going to be approaching citizens from next week. How long does it take? Why is it so fast? Have you been in this process for a long time already, or what? Thank you.
Willie Chiti Jones, ENCA. Mr. Shivambu, just two questions. How long will this consultative process take? And obviously, when you are going to people, this interim structure has to go under a banner. So what will be the name of this organization or structure that will be presented to the people during this consultative process? Thank you.
No, thank you very much for the questions. I have not resigned from Mkhonto Wesizwe, and I will never resign from Mkhonto Wesizwe. I'm a member of Mkhonto Wesizwe. So the constitution of Mkhonto Wesizwe says that members are not allowed to participate in activities and programs of political parties whose aims and objectives are opposed to the objectives of Mkhonto Wesizwe. If Mkhonto Wesizwe believes that going to listen to the people violates the constitution, it will tell me that listening to the people is a violation of the constitution. I will not resign. I said I will never resign from Mkhonto Wesizwe. And I still stick by the decision and the communication that I made that it was the best decision ever to join Mkhonto Wesizwe. And I spoke about it earlier that how would we replace an opportunity to learn in 6 months what we couldn't learn in 10 years? Like a practical experience which you can never read in any textbook. Like and I knew from the beginning, from day one, that here we're about to start a journey of deep learning and understanding just what are the dynamics of South Africa's politics, not from a textbook point of view, or from social media point of view, because there are political leaders who are guided by social media and think trending on social media makes them relevant. Win all elections in social media, but on the ground they're nothing. So that is basically what we're dealing with. We're not dividing black political parties in table. We are listening to people, and they will tell us if there is a need for a political party. So if majority, and genuinely so, if majority of the people say that there's no need to form a political party, we will humbly listen to that and take advice from that point of view. We have constituted a structure which is going to be listening, and we have had meetings to talk about that, and none of those meetings were secret. We don't do anything secret. It's open. Even tomorrow and Saturday, we're going to have a meeting represented by all leaders from the whole country. Some are members of the ANC, some are members of the EFF, some are members of the MK. And there's nothing wrong with people meeting to say we're going to listen to people. If their parties have got a problem with their members going to listen to people, then it's their own issue. So listening we're going to do. And if our organizations think that listening is a crime, it's wrong, then they will tell us that it's wrong in terms of those issues. Where am I going to get the money to travel? You know, Zianda, for my 6 months as Mkhonto Wesizwe national organizer and secretary general, I've never used the money of Mkhonto Wesizwe to travel from any place to another place. Not once. Even when we travel out of the country. Because I be able to persuade people to contribute for travel. And I purposefully did that. Like I never got to be dependent on Mkhonto Wesizwe on anything. And I said that in the meeting, that I didn't come to suck blood of Mkhonto Wesizwe's resources. And that is, we will be able to move from point A to B. If we run out of petrol, we will check if we can be borrowed money to pour petrol. If there is no petrol, we'll hike. We'll stand on the street and say, this way we're going to Mthatha. and then go and speak to the people. That is what we're going to do. But moving from point A to B, we'll be able to move in terms of how the process is going to happen. So the leadership collective that is going to meet, which is not a secret, is going to determine the program of action, the length and the process of consultation, and then we will be able to deal with these issues. Now, comrades, this thing is simple. Don't do things that you don't believe in. And don't associate with projects that you don't believe in. Never ever sacrifice principle on the altar of political convenience. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter if that is going to break friendship and people that you have known the rest of your life, brotherhood and all of those things there. If principle is broken, you disassociate from it, and decisively so. But in doing so, sometimes you must be considerate of some of the personal circumstances of some of the people that you're dealing with. So that is basically it, that you must never associate with unprincipled positions. You must always stick to principles as to how you deal with politics. These things of, yeah, I'm just there because I'm there for salary purposes and for income. What do we do? Go to leaders of the ANC on the corners and say, but what is this thing that they're doing? They will tell you that that Ramaphosa is nonsense. That Ramaphosa is misleading us. But they won't tell him. Go to EFF people and they will tell you their own characterization of the leader of the organization and what is happening there. But they don't have the courage to tell him. Same in MK. And we can't have political culture like that. We must be able to, when you raise issues internally sharply, you don't have to go and gossip about it anyway. Now all the issues and concerns that I heard about MK, I raised internally. Even against all odds, there is an opportunity to raise an issue about wrongdoing, I would speak and clearly speak against the untouchables there. People who take drugs and tweet at night and insult us. And we'll confront them and say, what is this about? And that is basically how we deal with these issues in terms of what happens. We'll never tiptoe around anyone in terms of principles. Always protect principle on how we deal with these issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, comrade. Number 1, number 2, Sandile, number 3, number 4, number 5. We're going to attend to everyone, don't worry. Thank you. Number 1.
Okay, I'm Kopano with MDN TV. Just 2 questions. What happened to unity under the MKP? And then my second question is that, Mr. Shivambu, do you feel like you were being used as a tool to destabilize the EFF? Thank you.
Mzwane Lembeja from the SABC. Mr. Shivambu, you're talking about people stealing money, people doing all wrong things, and people looking to get you removed, writing all those reports. So who are those people? And then next one, let me just ask yours as well.
It's the question about whether
when last did you speak to former President Zuma? Does he know about this briefing? And given what you have said about him, you've actually, on the podium, indicated that you have deep respect for him because you say you have learned, what you learned in 6 months is something you couldn't have learned in 10 years. So clearly, some deep respect there. So have you taken him into confidence about this process? What did he say? And when last did you speak to him?
No, thank you very much. My name is Lunga Mzangwe. I'm from the Mail and Guardian. Mzondile has basically taken the question that I wanted to ask you, but from what I'm hearing from MK people is that your trip to Bushiri was to basically get money to fund your own political party. Is there any truth to that? And on those intelligence report, who basically signed on them? And does President Zuma agree with those intelligence report? Thank you.
Good day, Nkosinathi Shazi from Power FM News. Mr. Shivambu, I just have one question. You've probably weighed up all the possible scenarios. Are you ready for the consequences on if the people say we do not want a political party, you reporting back to Umkhonto weSizwe? And my second question, if the people do want a political party, could this be the start of your new solo personal political journey? Now, of course, in that context, what I mean is when you were at the EFF, you're always seen as the number 2 of Malema, despite being the brains of EFF. You came into Umkhonto weSizwe, a national organizer, secretary general. You've described them as an ethnic party. You've been demoted to parliament as a member of parliament. So is this your moment, your defining moment in politics where you say, you know what, I'm ready to do this alone. I'm ready to go at it despite my circumstances. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Is it on? Good afternoon. My name is Sisanda Mbolekwa from the Sunday Times. Mr. Shivambu, for clarity, the decision to move from the EFF to the MK party, you called it the best and the sound or solid decision. I'm asking you if you do not regret that moment, reflecting upon where we are today. And secondly, you say that you're going to retain your membership of Umkhonto weSizwe party. Can we reasonably expect South Africans and the electorate to take the MK party seriously as a political vehicle when it's been consistently characterized by chaos and fiefdom around President Zuma? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I thought I had responded to the question. I don't regret leaving the EFF. It's the best decision I ever took in my political life. Because we're legitimating rubbish there. And there was no way that you could dedicate your intellectual muscles and work. And in practice, you realize that this thing which we said we are standing for is not principle. Check the conduct of EFF in government and what gets to legitimate such. That was the best decision ever. And everyone that we spoke to, this like they, you know, like they were to criminalize Mbuyiseni. Hey, I will never trust a person who knew that the deputy president is leaving, and then they isolate Mbuyiseni on the basis that he knew that I'm leaving. It's not only Mbuyiseni; those comrades knew. We discussed it, and we reached the same conclusion that we are not being fair to society if we say that this comrade can lead this country. All of us agreed with the people who are leading EFF now. That is basically, and that is the reality of the situation. The people who are leading EFF now, all of us were unanimous. And then the issue was, what do we do? If I wanted to destabilize, someone is asking, were you sponsored to destabilize the EFF? If I wanted to destabilize the EFF, I could have started a faction inside and caused interactions and this. What then the decision was, like, let me not destabilize the EFF, let me leave. I never spoke about the EFF anyway. And also in respect of the responsibilities that I had, that if I was national organizer or secretary general and then speak about the EFF, it was going to be confused as if I'm speaking on those platforms on behalf of the organization. In terms of how we got to deal with those, you know, part of, although there were dynamics, like part of the things which I used to appreciate about the EFF was that I realized from I didn't sit in general or national organizer or anything. Not once did I go and speak to President Zuma and say, please don't remove me as SG here, I'm the best and everything else there. I think we all agree that if you were to isolate black people, whether they come from the black consciousness, political view, or Pan-Africanist, or economic freedom in our lifetime, or charterist, or those who believe in MK and all other organizations, if you were to isolate black people and say just what do we need as the top priority issues for black people that have to be done in this country, we're going to come out with the same things. The people of South Africa, in terms of aspirations and interests, are not divided. The people of South Africa need jobs. They need stable and healthy environments. They need a society that is free of crime and corruption. They want land. They need to live. They want to have access to quality education. The people of black people are not divided in terms of aspirations. But for narrow political purposes, we get to be divided. That is why we will be going to the people to ask, do we form a political party? If the advice is no, we will be able to accept that guidance in terms of what happens. So I don't need any position of responsibility to survive in life or to have a voice, by the way. I don't need to be a president or secretary general to have a voice. Actually, my voice is much more clearer when I speak without any position of responsibility. So possibly most of you have never heard me speak openly about many issues because I respected the positions that I have. As a deputy president, I couldn't say certain things. As a national organizer, I couldn't say certain things. As a secretary general, I could say certain things, but now I can make open observations about just what is happening. Perhaps even without a position, my voice will be much more amplified in terms of how we push for the agenda of the return of our land. I last spoke to President Zuma on the day when we had a press conference in Durban, and I said to him, thank you very much, Comrade President, for having given me the opportunity to lead and for entrusting me with the responsibility to be national organizer and Secretary General. I really appreciate And then the other thing I said was that if this deployment to Parliament, I think for stability of the organization, I can still add value to the organization even as an ordinary member of the National High Command and then contribute to its growth. That is what I said to the last conversation which we had with President Zuma. I did explain the issue and reminded President Zuma of the conversations on what ended up with the Malawi trip. And throughout my explanation and reminding him of our conversation in Namibia, he agreed to that. He says, "Ngakhumbula." When the DSG sitting next to me was even saying, wrote me a note that you are safe, they won't do anything to you. Then I was asked to leave the meeting, and then the meeting remained there. And then they said, I don't believe anything that he said. He wants to take over the organization. Actually, we must go and reverse all the decisions that he has taken. Let's disband all the structures. Let's reverse everything, including the constitution. I said, people can do whatever they want to do. We played our part. If the conviction is that what we're doing is wrong, it's okay. Like, we move on in terms of how we deal with these issues. There is no political party which is going to be funded from Malawi. Like, there is no political party that is going to be funded by Bushiri. We are going to listen to the people and will get guidance from the people as to how do we move forward. I'm not, this comrade who asked the question, he left. I'm not starting any solo project. We must stop these things that political parties are personal projects, like a music band, Brenda Fassie and the Black Dudes. That if Brenda Fassie is not there, the Black Dudes can't operate. A political party can't have that character. But you have got political organizations in this country which are like Brenda Fassie and the Black Dudes. Where if Brenda Fassie is not there, the Black Dudes are not there. We can't have an organization like that. There must be an organization that exists in every corner of South Africa, whether there is a Floyd or no Floyd, or whoever is there must be the expression of the collective ideals of the political party. That is basically how we dealing with all of those issues. I think we can take the last round of questions. I don't want to talk about that. Yeah. I don't want to talk about that. Maybe when we do a one-to-one interview, I'll tip you. Zandile, me and you are together. That's the end. Sure.
Thank you, Comrade Shivambu. Another round. We'll go one. And then 2, 3, 4. There at the back, Mr. Afro. 5, and then we'll go with you, and then you. Thank you. Okay, we go. We gave you a chance now. Okay, you the last one. Thank you.
Thank you. Molweni nonke, gama lam nguNtsiki Mazwai from the Moya podcast. So, Floyd, you did say that you don't want to be surrounded by yes men, right? And I want to find out that a lot of people were complaining about it being difficult to work with you on a personal level. And I want to know which part you hold yourself accountable to, and if you feel as if there is some personality dynamics that you need to work on yourself, perhaps to be a better leader, to be able to connect with people, or you think it's just all rubbish. And then abantu bafuna ukwazi uba uDudu ebekuthukela ntoni that night. Enkosi.
Good day, it's Wikanyo MDN TV. Mr. Fred Shibam, I only have one question for you because my other colleague have already raised other question. Given the reports of your marginalization within the MKP on the basis of ethnicity, do you believe the party operates with the tribalist tendencies? And with your experience, can you confirm or dispel the notion that MKP is fundamentally tribalist in character.
You can talk.
Hi, I'm Amanda Koza from News 24. Mr. Shivambu, I just wanted to know what will happen in the event that MK comes out later saying that you're expelled, if they decide to expel you this afternoon, having said everything that you've said.
Thank you. It's Corinda from Kaya 959. I'd just like to confirm, would this briefing be the first time that other members of MKP are hearing about your plans to try and launch another party, including the former president? And then, sir, you say you won't resign, but you're looking to launch another political party. So if that works, then how would it add up? Would you be then campaigning for both parties? Thank you.
Okay, Tiseto Malau from PEM News. Mr. Floyd, Julius Malema once said that Jacob Zuma uses people. The only person that he never uses is his daughter. Do you think that's how the man operates? And then the second one, Tutuzile once accused you of stealing. Map out your innocence. On Twitter. Okay, mismanaging funds, sorry. Mismanaging funds. Sorry, mismanaging funds, sorry. And then, okay, the last question is that you once made claims that you can easily mobilize members of the EFF to join you. And now you are saying that you're going to consult if you can start a political party from South Africans. If they say that you can start a political party, do you think those leaders and members will join you in that party? Thank you.
It's you. The lady with the, yeah.
All right, my name is Tando Mayeko and I'm from the Business Day. Mr. Shivambu, just please explain the banners behind you. I think you forgot to explain the name of this organization. What is it? Is it an NGO? Is it a church? What is it? And then what's this? Just please also kindly explain who is funding this organization. And then is MK still credible? And then just going back on your accusations of an intelligence report that was used against you by the MK national officials. Are you surprised that an intelligence report was used, considering that the State Capture Commission or the Zondo Commission found that former President Jacob Zuma used to use intelligence reports against his political defectors? Thanks.
Okay. Cindy Sontlabati from the Houghton Network. Mr. Floyd, you've characterized your session, your time now moving forward. And I would greatly like to know, in terms of the perspective of the vision of the South Africa that you dream of, maybe if you can give us the ultimate end goal that this is the vision I have, or the vision we have as a collective that you are part of now, in terms of what is the South Africa that you are looking towards. Thank you.
Mr. Shivambu, Doreen Mukhulu here. Mr. Shivambu, Doreen Mukhulu here from Scholar Africa. I just want to find out, you're speaking about fake intelligence. I want to find out, were there any power dynamics within the party, in the MK, that to a point that they had to make the fake intelligence to push you out?
It's a follow-up. Floyd, I asked about the issue of credibility. Look, you, on your own admission that having left the EFF, anyone that was perceived to be loyal to you, you believe that they were victimized. Are you still willing to now have more careers being destroyed by joining a new entity that you are forming? Should South Africans still regard you as a credible voice when you have served 11 years in an organization and now you are calling it a personal fiefdom? Where was the foresight then? As an educated man, shouldn't you have figured this out much earlier? And the same thing, attitude would be adopted in case of MK, because you've been there for literally 10 months. that then raises the question of your own personal judgment that you should have foresaw that there's trouble there, that Mr. Zuma is quite elderly and gullible, as you put it. So it speaks to your own personal judgment. Thanks.
I think that is your opinion. Let's give it to you. It's your own opinion. Like, it's not a question. Like, really, and we can't help you. And different people will have different perspectives in terms of what happens. I do know, Ntsiki, I think in conducting political work, like I think those that we have worked with before, the difficulty that they have is when we have got leadership responsibilities. One, I refuse to have private meetings or private engagements. So there is a lady from Mpumalanga who, I think it's called Mary or something like that. So the first meeting I attended of MK, there was a decision, I didn't even know who she is. There was a decision to expel her, and then another meeting. And actually, in the first meeting, I even said that, please don't expel comrades, it's too early, let us go and engage with them. And it's in the minutes of MK that said, don't expel her, further engagements and all of those things. Then another decision was taken, because some of the decisions had to be written and signed by me, even when you have expressed a different view inside. Then she asked for a private meeting to brief me. Then I said, I can't do that. And I said it actually in the national officials meeting that majority of times, comrades would want to meet you privately and be buddy-buddy so that they are protected when they do wrong things in the organization. And that is the conduct that we got to deal with. You know, I'm very close to Mzobe. We always say that we have known each other for more than 20 years, but he was head of presidency. When I was doing wrong things, I'll write him a letter that you're not doing your work properly as head of presidency. And wrote it in an organizational report that, yes, and he will also give me criticisms as well that, hey, you're too closed up and all of those things, but that is how organizations are run. You can't run it through friendship in terms of how you then get to conduct yourselves. But if there are other issues, we can be able to listen to that. MK is not tribalist. It's not a tribalist organization. There's no tribalism. I never got to encounter tribalism. But I know there are people who mischaracterize the organization because also it was still at its formative stages. So there are people who truly believe that it's an organization to liberate Zulu-speaking people. So there will be those who will say that. And they will say that to the president. And there are those who believed that, but it's not the overall character of MK. These extremely brilliant comrades and activists that are in Kontowe Sizwe, who understand politics properly, organizing, mobilization, and there's never been a problem of tribalism which can be elevated. I know there was an incident now of Teniso, brilliant young man who is the leader of the MK Youth League, made a legitimate, honest, innocent mistake about referring to Tsonga-speaking people as Shangan and everything else. For some people it lands well, for some people it doesn't land well. But I think a substantial number take it derogatory, as a derogatory reference. But he didn't mean bad, like he was not doing it in a vindictive and tribalist way. I know him that Teniso is a proper comrade who has got a bright future in the politics of South Africa. So there's no tribalism in the organization. I don't agree with the analysis of Julius about President Zuma. I don't. I've got to interact with him and all of those other things. But I know there are times where I think former president or former secretary general who worked with him for the longest time in the ANC, Halima Motlanthe, I think when he did an interview with Sizwe, he said that the limitation with President Zuma is that sometimes he can be persuaded about an issue outside of organizational structures and want to take a decision based on what was the persuasion outside of organizational structures. So that becomes a dilemma for any, particularly as a Secretary General, because once you have taken resolutions collectively, your expectation is that you must collectively communicate and defend those resolutions. And that time he has now reconsidered the decisions that were taken before, and then it then becomes difficult to move forward in terms of. I think that observation, which I share, was already communicated by President, former SG of the ANC, Halima Motlanthe, when President Zuma was in office. So that dynamic is a limitation generally, that he meets way too many people. And in the process, sometimes he meets people and then he says, and then those people interpret that as if he agreed to whatever they were saying. And that is the dynamic. But I don't agree at all that he uses people. He is trusted by the people of KwaZulu-Natal and by the people of South Africa. The journey we're building was to expand the message of what he stands for. And he is not opportunist in terms of how he communicates political principle. Like even in closed spaces, there could be a... I'll give you an example, for instance, that the Moroccan embassy wanted to buy the position of MK to say that MK should support Morocco's operation over Western Sahara. And then there are those closer to him who visited Morocco, were promised money, and then they came back and said MK must agree with Morocco's operation of Western Sahara. Then when he realizes that they won't understand this, then he called me into the meeting. Then said to the Moroccan ambassador and political secretary that we are not going to agree with you. If we are going to have engagements with the Kingdom of Morocco, we must talk to the SADR here and the Polisario Front, which is the liberation movement fighting for the liberation of Western Sahara. And then we agreed on that principled positions. I wrote a letter on the 27th of March to the Polisario Front to say that the president will engage with you before he engages with Morocco, because it's now 50 years since the operation got to happen over Western Sahara by Morocco. And you saw what happened. Immediately we were suspended. What is that? Not suspended, that thing of redeployed. Then the Moroccan government issued a statement which is undersigned by Mkhonto Wesizwe to say that Mkhonto Wesizwe supports its operation over Western Sahara. No meeting to discuss that, no national high command, no officials. Someone just says, and the people who did that, it's those who went to Morocco. Like, that is basically the whole thing. Like, there's no, and in the official record, in the minutes of the National High Command, is that President Zuma is going to mediate a discussion between Western Sahara Liberation Forces and Morocco to find a settlement. It has been going in for a very long time. But after, immediately we leave, because they couldn't do that in our presence, obviously. They couldn't. Then they saw an opportunity that, yeah, now we're going to maybe press that jukebox or to sing for us. And then and you can see that statement, which is issued in the name of MK, is written by the Moroccan embassy here in South Africa, to impose a position on MK on the basis that there will be money exchanges. And that is what happens. Also, even with this, you remember when we did a press conference, Muslim Judicial Council. So part of these scoundrels, they go to speak to the Muslim Judicial Council and say, no, please go and speak to President Zuma, say to him that he must remove the SG, and that is the only basis he will give money. And then they go there and they are complaining. They say in that church of Shepherd Bushiri, there is 80 plus flags there. There's a flag of Israel as part of the flags there. I didn't even see the flag myself. They say no, because he was in a church where there's a flag of Israel. It means it's against Israel. No, it's against Palestine. And that is going to cause us problems. So you must expel him so that we can give him condolences and money. That is, so there is transactional all issues. I wouldn't make reference to Zondo, the judge. Like, I have no respect for Zondo, zero. And he actually made me to have much more deeper respect for President Zuma. Like, I have no respect for that nonsense of state capture, inquiry nonsense that I've got no regard, none whatsoever of those. It can't be my point of reference on anything. Like, even the whole decision to get President Zuma arrested was absolute rubbish. Even that time as a deputy president of the EFF, I condemned that. I took international interviews and wrote articles publicly to condemn what Zondo did in terms of arresting of President Zuma. I will never make reference to that as a basis of anything else. He was used by the capitalist establishment to, he was not a judge, he was just an instrument of capitalism and for wrong purposes in terms of what happens. We funding for termination of membership, so be it. It's not the first time. Like, my membership of the ANC, I was not even expelled in the ANC, I was suspended. And I left. You know, this thing of political parties thinking that people are desperate for their membership, it must come to an end. Like, and that people must beg for membership. If anything, political parties must be honored that they've got members and respect them. Not that you must be begging for membership of a political organization. I left the ANC when it was above 63% in parliament and control of all provinces, was possibly the only employer. Had influence and lots of friends and people that I knew throughout my life left. I left the ANC voluntarily when it had power. Why would I be perturbed about being expelled by Mkondo which doesn't have power? Like, what will be like? That is the issue. I don't beg membership of political organizations. I deal with these issues differently. You know, I used to say all the time to the DSG of Mkondo Sizwe that let's do our work. People can say whatever they want to say, they can scream and everything else. We take decisions, we implement, we go towards that are having by-elections. Before we went towards, the MK never used to win by-elections. We used to go towards to preside over volunteers, without photos, without cameras, and pay attention to every little detail, and then we started to win wards. And then some people from parliament, they go a day before elections and they take photos there and they say, hey, we've delivered the word. After we have delivered it, Richmond we delivered. What Dugoza we delivered. Mandeni we delivered. Like, and we do the work, and 3 months before the by-elections happens, we go there every week. And as we can't be entertaining who says what and everything else. I actually even told one of the provincial coordinators who said, hey, SJ, there are people who are talking about you here. They say you must be removed. I said, oh, man, don't ever send me such a message. Leave those things. If there's a decision to remove me, they will take it, but I'm not going to be sitting down and worried about removal and everything else. That now we take decisions and then we implement what is mandated by the collective and then build an organization on what should happen. Ladies and gentlemen, the people of South Africa, thank you very much for having listened to us speak for a very long time. We will be visiting all parts of South Africa. Next week, we're going to be announcing the leadership structure that is going to be guiding the listening process so that we then also will be announcing just where are we going to be visiting for community engagement and interactions with our people. That is how we get to be here. Thank you very much. We are availing ourselves to be at service. We are servants of the people who want to listen. If the guidance is that we must form a political party, we are going to do it decisively and lead our people towards prosperity and total emancipation. Thank you very much. Sabong.